Hello and welcome to the Engender studio here at Itron Utility Week. I'm now joined by Roberto Aiello, who's the Managing Director of Itron Idea Labs. Firstly, Roberto, thanks for making the time to be here. It's a nice and busy event.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, because it was exciting to me to hear that, you know, Itron have got an idea lab and so on, especially within an industry where, you know, things take almost a decade to come out. So can you tell us a little bit about the motivation of the idea labs?
Yeah, it's funny that you said that. I mean, it's true that this industry has been slow and things take a long time. But if you think about what's happening around us with technologies accelerating exponentially, we got Siri, self-driving cars, and all that, mobile. All these things create a change in the whole economy, including our industry. Things are moving faster. There are more businesses based on services than on hardware. Things are happening around us that are not within our control. So I think every company needs to react to that and to move to the 21st century, even if it's 16 years after the 21st century started. And so we decided to start Idea Labs for accelerating innovation.
Was it your idea or was it Itron? Because you're a startup guy, right?
Yeah.
Looking at your background as well.
Yeah, I think it was mostly my idea,
right.
But definitely, you know, I had a lot of support from Philip Mizzi and from others, you know, from the CTO, from Simon Pontin to get it going. And in fact, the idea was, you know, take the techniques we use for startup companies and let's move them to Itron. So that means the objective, first of all, is not to create technology, or innovation in general, is to create new businesses outside our existing businesses. So we do what startups do. We identify some problems to solve for customers, then we give them a solution, we let them try, and when they pay us and we provide value to them, then we we graduate that to the business unit as a standalone business.
So you're like an incubator, structurally separate from the rest of the business, somewhat. And you incubate these ideas, and you're the funnel towards then mainstreaming them if they're successful.
We are a little isolated from the rest. Obviously, we are part of Itron, you know, but we are a little isolated. We're a little immune by some of the processes and the goals that a large company has. We want to move fast. We want to prove some of the ideas wrong as fast as possible and move forward to the good ideas.
Can I just ask you, you know, just having commentated on other companies that have set up idea labs and innovation, I just want to stress on the point, that isolation or that somewhat of an abstraction is important, isn't it? Because there's a different culture in that startup thing to, you know, the day business. You know, how easy is that to actually engender in real life?
Yeah, I mean, so definitely, first, it is important. And I think it's important for a couple of reasons. One is for the ability to move fast, the ability to prove projects wrong and to kill them and to move on quickly, to pivot quickly. That is important. The other important thing is that in a mature business, the metrics of success are not the same as they are in a growing business. Like in a maturing business, what we care about are margins, revenue, and all that. In an early business, we care about growth and we care about slope of growth more than anything. So, for example, if you were to judge, let's say, you know, you were the GM of a business unit and you have to decide if you want to fund a project that gives you, I don't know, 10 million bucks per quarter, another one that gives you $0 per quarter, but a high slope. You always fund the one for 10 million per quarter, no question. So the metrics are different. So that's why this needs to be isolated. To a second part, I mean, it's not easy to keep it isolated.
Yep.
You know, there are definitely, you know, there is some education and some education to be done, and in the whole team and you know, the large organization need to understand why we want to do what we want to do and why we need to be a little more isolated to succeed. And I think, you know, it's a little difficult at the beginning, but I think right now, you know, we're two some years into this, I think it is understood, overall that it is better if we keep it this way.
And I mean, that leads me neatly to the next question. You're 2 years into it, and even in the beginning, as much as you have an idea lab or whatever, at the end of the day, there is an expected ROI. There's some expected outcome. Can you just expand on that a little bit?
So this is a good point, because in my career, I work actually in 2 different incubators. One at Interval Research that was founded by Paul Allen, and one at Disney. And what I did here is to specify clearly that there is an ROI as an objective. And it has to be, so I consider kind of 3 main type of capitals we develop. One is a financial, which is, given what we spend, we need to return some 10x or 20x over a number of years based on investment. Another one is what I call, the identity capital, which is, having improved our brand, improve the perception of Itron as an innovator with the customers, with our partners, and with investors. And the third one is actually is more internal, which is bringing a different way of doing things to the rest of the company. Try, take more risks. Because in a mature business, usually you never want to take risks, right? Failure is not an option,
it's
right?
A risk management exercise.
Exactly, and for us, we want to take risks because if all my projects are successful, I don't think we're good. I think we're not taking enough risks. So it's all about that.
So just stressing on that a little bit, and it is a lot of companies kind of face that. But how easy is it for you to engender a culture where it's okay to fail? Because a lot of us have grown up in, like you say, mature businesses where actually, failure is the one thing you don't want to do because you're out the door.
That's right.
So how do you isolate that? How do you lead something like that?
It's about the team. I got to. The group has been successful so far, but it's because I have a good team. That is not like.
It's not like you're doing everything.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. We hire smart people, and we don't want to let them we don't want to tell them what to do, right? Yeah. I think we have a team who is used to this kind of stuff. It's a team that knows that it's okay to fail. It knows that we take risks. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think it's not just this team. I mean, Itron and large, they've seen that we've been successful in some, we fail in some others, and I think everybody understands they're just part of it. They also understand. Everybody understands that in the product development, in the business units, in the mature businesses, it would be a bad idea to do things the way we do. Conversely, in our team, it would be the idea to use the process we use for a mature business. So I think now that, like I said, we're more than 2 years into this, I think we have reached a good balance. There's a good understanding that emerging businesses and mature businesses are different, need to be treated different. So in fact, there is no tension at all between our team or the rest of the company.
I mean, in any of those journeys, you reach a new normal, I suppose. Maybe that's what you're saying. Well, it's a new normal now. We're comfortable with it.
That's right. And I think, it goes back to the first point. I mentioned that fundamentally, we need to do this because the world is changing. It's not like, because we want to be smart or because we like to innovate. The problem is the world is changing. The time to market is shorter. The barrier to entry is shorter, and we got drone, 3D printers, and apps, and everybody can make any product with a very little investment, and we need to get into this. This industry is not immune by these changes.
Yeah, there's some buffering, but like you say, not total immunity. So again, you're doing a great job segmenting me all the way down to this interview. It's just like, so 2 years in, progress, and I'll let you talk about the detail because I don't know the detail, but it was fascinating for me to walk around your area, which you've got here. I keep waving to the back because that's where it is. Some of the products that have already come out of this. Can you just tell us a little bit more about, the life cycle of product generation and some of the real products that have had their genesis within the Idea Labs?
Yeah, actually, that's interesting because when I started this, I had my opinion on how long this product, the development should work, and that was 100% wrong.
Right.
So I can tell you the history, now what my plan was, right? But I won't tell you what my plan was because it's totally wrong.
What was your opinion? How long do you think it was
I
actually?
thought it should take 6 weeks to validate the business model. I couldn't imagine why it should take any longer. And then we found it took, because I come from a consumer space, Now, it takes 6 weeks to schedule a meeting with a customer here. So that we tweak that timeline.
Yeah.
So now I think it takes us between project idea and transition to a real business. It takes about a year,
Right.
more or less. And
But even that, in this context, is effectively like 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, and we break it down into, so after the first period when you say, okay, this actually, we have a customer, we have a compelling problem to solve, we know how to do it, then we develop a product and we develop that for the customer. And then with that, we validate.
So is it mostly like a pull scenario that you're constantly talking to customers and saying what are your problems,
For
rather than some of what happens in the tech world where people just creating products and then you find customers?
I think, well, first of all, most startup companies fail not because the product doesn't work, but because they don't have any customers.
True.
So we are absolutely customer driven. We never develop a product if we didn't have a customer ready to use that product, and we won't do that. And that's sometimes frustrating to the entrepreneurs running the project, but that it has to be customer driven. And the other thing that's happening, since we're so close to customers, there's never time to write a market requirement documents or nothing. I mean, we're developing a product. Sometimes, a week before we give it to the customer, they change their mind or something, and we got to change it. We're really close to the customer.
And just if we can just focus on one product just to bring the journey to life, because you've got the solar gateway product, and then you've also got an innovation prize and things like that. Can you just talk a little bit more about those?
Yeah, the solar product is very interesting because we actually have an existing market selling electric meters to solar leasing company. And they measure, like a regular electric meter, they measure the production of solar. And what we discovered last year, I took this project in June last year, and we discovered, talking to customers, the problem was not just to measure production. They also want to measure consumption of the home and also diagnose the panel for efficiency, for operational problem, all that. And so
so it's a maintenance
that's
element
right.
to it as well.
So over 3 months, we work with customers, we develop a product idea, then we have, 3 months later, we had a pilot with a customer, and then we decided to move it to the business unit. We're developing a product, and we're expecting to start shipping in January this year. So the time, also the development time was pretty short. We developed everything in 6 months. So I think it's pretty good. And that's one, I think I'm really proud of this because we have an existing customer base, we were able to find new value propositions. The business the value to the customer is more in the data than it is in the hardware, and the value for us is more in the service than it is in the hardware. So I think and there's a lot of potential for growth to provide new value to our customers, to the consumers, and to ourselves. So I'm really proud of this.
And I mean, it's fast, right? I mean,
It's
again,
fast.
in this context. But one of the other things I wanted to stress test a little bit is, how important is that transition that Itron has already made to give this, because I remember talking to Itron representatives 3 years ago, where it was always like, okay, we're going to become a services business. That's the road we're on, and it seems to me, from the outside looking in, there was a big bet made on that play. How important is that play to your ability to innovate? Because you've got a platform now, rather than, like you said, having to have hardware engineered for every single bespoke use case.
It's funny because actually I hire entrepreneurs to run my projects. Like I said, I don't tell them what to do. Not a single one of them ever develop a hardware business. This is not actually, obviously I know as a company we are moving to service, we're moving to more outcome, but it turns out when I hire world-class entrepreneurs, I don't have to tell them that. Everybody does it. This is like the way, I mean, like I said, the world is changing. You know, people don't like to buy stuff, they like to rent stuff. The millennials, they like to, they don't want to own a car.
No, we rent it.
Right, so this is something that's happening right now in the world, and we get, entrepreneurs to run this project. They just do service project. I don't have to tell them, hey, don't do hardware. Nobody wants to do it. It's too slow, doesn't scale. Now, obviously, we have a big business with hardware, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if you want to start projects quickly and scale, do a scalable, repeatable business model, it's way easier to do without hardware.
What's this Ignite Innovation Prize you've got?
So we develop another one of my projects is, we launched a development community. We call it itronriba.com, where we made reference designs available in hardware and software that enable companies either to put devices on our network or to write application on our devices. And this also was an experiment. We did it, say, well, let's see if anybody cares. So we launched it. And now, we're a few months into that. We sold, we sold a lot of units, there are a lot of interest. And so we had this idea, well, why don't we actually have a challenge with our customer partners and see who can come up with a cool application using this platform.
So this platform is mainly for customers who want to potentially develop
customer or partners,
right,
or whoever wants to develop and be part of our ecosystem.
Right.
And I thought it would be fun actually to do something like that. And when you do this thing, the first time you never know if anybody even applies, right? So we got lucky with enough.
So you sat there watching this thing. It's like
that's right. Is the counter going to change?
And how far did it go?
I went pretty well. We had good interest, and we got quite a few good ideas. And the winner really did a great job. And it's a good problem. It's an end-to-end solution. And and my team judged the entries, and they are judging. The criteria is not just who did the most work, right? It's also is it a compelling problem? Is it potential business and all that?
Just to give you just a final word, because we are coming to the end of our time here. It's just okay. What do you see, or are you already planning the sort of next steps for Itron Idea Labs? Because you've got this community now. You've got a lot of entrepreneurs, albeit internal entrepreneurs, who are working on projects. What's the next big project that you guys are working on?
Well, I guess I don't want to use specific, but from the competency point of view, we're going to grow more in machine learning and AI as a trend. I think it's a lot of human decisions that can be much better if they become machine decisions. There are a lot of data that can be better understood if there are machines involved instead of humans. And we have a couple of projects already that do that, and we've seen really interesting results. The second piece, more structurally, I want to get more startup companies involved. And the way to do it, I'm going to have joint projects where I pair one of our entrepreneurs with a startup company. And the point is define a project where, if successful, we're both successful. And I think this will be a good way to invest in startup company for us, because everybody can invest money, but we can invest our channel, our technology,
and you can get access to that customer base as well.
That's right. Exactly, which is something that is unique to us, and is not a startup company can get that from VC funding.
And that's always one of the things, like you said, right? You can have all the money in the world, but you need customers at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, obviously, in fact, look, I did 3 startups, 2 were VC funded, and the VCs, we always wanted VCs that were smart money. It's not just funding, it's also people with contacts in companies. But we are a step further. We actually have contact with customers, with our channel, so we can provide much more access to startup companies our customers are going to get more innovation directly from those. It's kind of, we vetted a little bit, so it kind of there's a little less risk. And like I said, if we can define a project that is successful for both parties, then everybody wins.
And that's a perfect note to leave it on, Roberto. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Having me.
And thank you as well for watching. There's been another interview at Itron Utility Week in association with Engender. Many more came out of this event. I think we're going to end up with about 20. I hope you enjoy watching those.